Welcome to the Build Your Private Practice podcast, a space for Canadian therapists who want to support others, make an impact, and build a sustainable practice that works for them too. I'm your host, Liane Wood, a registered psychotherapist, group practice owner, and business mentor, and I'm here to help you build a private practice that allows you to keep doing the work you love without burning out. Because the people who need your help the most are counting on you, and you deserve a practice that supports you while you support them. Let's dive in.
This episode is brought to you by Jane Websites, a website builder that helps the right clients actually find you online. One of the things I appreciate about Jane Websites is that it doesn't just sit there looking nice. It works to bring people to your practice. Built-in SEO means your site is designed to show up well on Google, so someone searching for support in your area can actually find you. And when you're ready to go further, their in-house SEO team can help with keyword research and local optimization. It also syncs with your Jane account every day. So when something changes in Jane, it updates on your website. No double entry, no keeping two things in step by hand. A website that helps clients find you and quietly keeps itself current. To learn more, head to janewebsites.com/Liane-Wood. And when you're there and when you're ready to get started, use my code BYPP1MO for your first month free.
Welcome back to the Build Your Private Practice podcast, the place for Canadian mental health practitioners who want to build a private practice that supports their life, not drains it. I'm your host, Liane Wood, and today I want to talk about something 4 different therapists said to me this last week, almost word for word. 4 therapists, 4 separate conversations, and the same sentence. Psychology Today just stopped sending me clients. Not slowed down, stopped. People who used to get a steady trickle of inquiries from their directory listing are refreshing their inbox and hearing crickets. And every one of them asked me some version of the same question. What changed? What did I do wrong? And here's the honest answer, and I say it with love. Nothing changed about you. What changed is that a directory listing that was never actually a marketing strategy in the first place. It just felt like one because for a while it worked. And I want to unpack that today because I think a lot of you have quietly built your entire practice on a foundation you didn't realize was borrowed. And let me name what's actually shifted out there because it helps to know it isn't you. Over the last few years, a lot more therapists have been listed on these directories. And on top of that, these platforms change how they order and display listings whenever they want, with no notice and no explanation. So the ground under a directory-based practice is always shifting and you have no say in it. When your inquiries dropped, you didn't get worse. The list just got more crowded and the rules changed underneath you, which is exactly why you don't want your practice's survival tied to it. So let me explain what a directory actually does. A directory, Psychology Today, or any of them, makes you findable. And that's the whole job. Someone types in their city and anxiety therapist, and a list comes up, and maybe you are on it. And that is genuinely useful, but findable and chosen are 2 completely different things. And the gap between them is where your practice actually lives or dies. Think about it from the other side. A person in pain working up the courage to reach out for the first time opens that directory and sees 40 faces, 40 therapists who all more or less say the same things. I provide a warm, non-judgmental space. I work with anxiety, depression, and life transitions. I use a client-centered approach. All true, all lovely, and all completely interchangeable. When everything looks the same, the person doesn't choose based on fit because they can't tell who's a fit. They choose based on whatever's easiest, who's closest, who happens to be at the top of the list that day. And when the algorithm shuffles or the platform gets more crowded, your inquiries dry up and it has nothing to do with your skill as a clinician. So being findable puts you at the mercy of a list you don't control. The therapists who aren't panicking right now, the ones whose practices don't wobble when the directory went quiet, have something different going on. because they're not just findable, they're chosen. And there are really only two things that make someone chosen instead of interchangeable. And so I want to talk about both of them. The first is referral relationships, real, human, two-way relationships with the people who are in a position to send you clients. Doctors, naturopaths, school counselors, other therapists who are full or who don't work within your niche, wellness studios, the lawyer who handles a lot of divorces. When a family doctor knows you and trusts you and knows exactly who you are brilliant with, they don't hand their patient a directory and say, good luck. Instead, they say, I know exactly who you should call. And that is the difference between being one of 40 faces and being the name someone says out loud. And here's the beautiful part. A referral relationship isn't at the mercy of anyone's algorithm. Nobody can shuffle you down the list. You built it and you own it. Now, I know that networking makes a lot of us want to crawl out of our skin. So let me reframe this. You're not selling, you're making it easy for people who already want to help their patients to help them well. A short, warm message to a family doctor's office introducing yourself and being specific about who you help. A coffee with another therapist, a note to a colleague when their client would clearly be better served by someone else. These aren't sales tactics, they're relationships and they compound. One good referral relationship can outperform a directory listing for years. Let me give you a picture of what this looks like when it works. I know a therapist who a few years ago had almost no online presence, barely a website, no directory strategy to speak of, but she'd spent a couple of years being genuinely useful to a handful of family doctors in her area, sending the occasional helpful article, always closing the loop when they referred someone to her, and being clear and reliable about who she was great with. So, when one of those doctors had a patient with postpartum anxiety, there was no searching, no list, no 40 faces. The doctor wrote her name on a slip of paper and said, call her. She's the one for this. And that practice filled without a single algorithm being involved. And that is what chosen looks like. Your name in someone's handwriting, handed to the exact person you are best at helping. The second thing that makes you chosen is one consistent message. And this is where I see so many good clinicians undercut themselves. When you try to be attractive to everyone, I work with anxiety and depression and couples and teens and trauma and grief and life transitions. You become for no one in particular. Nobody reads that and thinks, oh, that's me. But when you say one clear thing over and over in the same voice to the same kind of person, that person feels it. I help new moms who feel like they've lost themselves. Or I work with high achievers whose anxiety is quietly running the show. Someone reads those and feels understood before they've even booked. And that is what gets chosen. Consistency here is the piece that people miss. It's not enough to say your one thing once, buried on the about page of your website. Chosen comes from repetition. The same message on your website in the way you introduce yourself, in whatever content you put out, in what you tell that family doctor. When a referral source has heard you describe who you help 3 or 4 times, they can repeat it for you. And now they're marketing for you in the exact words you'd want them to use. So let me connect the two because they're really one thing. A clear, consistent message is what makes your referral relationships work. When you're specific about who you help, the family doctor or other professional knows exactly which patient to think of. When you're vague, they can't place you, so they don't. The message and the relationships aren't two separate strategies, they are the same strategy. You become known for something specific to specific people who can send you specific clients. And I know the fear that comes up the second I say pick one person, because it comes up for everyone. If I get that specific, won't I turn away all the people who don't fit? But here's what actually happens. You don't stop being able to help the other people. You just stop being invisible to the ones you help the best. A specific message doesn't shrink your practice. It gives the right person a reason to choose you out of 40. And it gives your referral sources the exact words they need to describe you. Vague may feel safe, but vague is precisely what went quiet when the directory went quiet. Specific is what gets chosen. And here's a small thing you can do this week, even with the directory you already have. Most listings are wasted because they open with credentials and modalities, the stuff that reads the same across all 40 profiles. Rewrite just the first 2 lines of yours to speak directly to your one person and the thing they're actually feeling. Not, I'm a registered psychotherapist offering CBT and mindfulness based approaches, but something more like, if you're the person everyone else leans on and you're quietly exhausted underneath it, I help people like you put themselves back on the list. Even inside a directory you don't control, a specific human message is what turns Findable into chosen. Now, I'm not telling you to delete your directory listing. Please keep it. Findable is fine. Findable is a perfectly good front door. The mistake is thinking the front door is the house. A directory should be one small piece of a practice that's held up by relationships and a clear message, not the single thread everything hangs from. Because if one platform going quiet can empty your calendar, that was never a marketing strategy. That was rental. And it's time to own the thing instead. So here's your one move this week, and I want you to write it down in one sentence. The single kind of person you most want to help. Specific enough that they'd recognize themselves in it. Not 3 kinds, one. And then I want you to say that sentence to one real human being who's in a position to refer people to you, whether that's a doctor's office, a colleague, just one. That is how a chosen practice gets built. One clear sentence said to one right person at a time. And speaking of being in a room with the right people, this fall, Build Your Private Practice turns 10, and we're celebrating on Friday, September 25th, in person in Toronto and live streamed online so you can join from wherever you are. And if today's episode has lit a fire under you about building real relationships instead of renting your visibility, this is exactly the kind of room you want to be in. Please put Friday, September 25th on your calendar now because you don't want to miss it. Thanks for listening today. If 4 therapists in my week were feeling this, I promise there's a 5th in your life who needs to hear it. So please send this their way. And I'll see you next Monday. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Build Your Private Practice podcast. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love it if you'd subscribe, leave a review, or share it with a fellow Canadian therapist who needs this. And remember, the work you do matters. Keep showing up, keep holding space, and keep building a practice that works for you. If you're looking for practical tools or support to grow your practice with more clarity and confidence, head to buildyourprivatepractice.ca. There's lots waiting for you there. I'll see you next time.